Hello everyone, Mr.G here, and today we're talking about our first Ice Age animal, as well as our first true mammal. It's the giant ground sloth itself, Megatherium. Megatherium means great beast, and it was a member of the Megatheridae family, which were an extinct group of sloths that lived during the Cenozoic era. Megatherium was a herbivore, and it had a pretty decent run, all things considered, lasting from the Pliocene all the way to the Holocene. So far, fossils of it have only been found in South America. Megatherium was 20 feet long, and it was one of the biggest land mammals to ever live, only being outclassed by some elephants and some species of rhinos. Megatherium was discovered in 1788 and holds the record for the first prehistoric animal whose remains are mounted in a museum. Thanks to its massive size, Megatherium didn't have a whole lot to worry about, and it was more than capable of easily killing a saber-toothed tiger. Unlike modern-day sloths, Megatherium had a very prominent tail and had visible ears. One interesting factoid about Megatherium is that some scientists believe that due to its size and the climate where it lived, that Megatherium was hairless like an elephant. Some paleobotanists think that Megatherium were a primary distributor of avocado seeds since they grew in the same areas at the same time. Contrary to popular belief, there is no evidence that Megatherium was omnivorous, and we know for a fact that Megatherium wasn't bipedal, but rather it walked on its knuckles like an anteater. Megatherium became extinct shortly after humans colonized the Americas. With all that out of the way, let's look at its card. Well, it looks like they took the term giant sloth a little too literally and made it look almost exactly like an upscaled sloth, both with a tail and tiny flaps of ears. Appearances aside, the card mentions the omnivore theory, which as I stated earlier has been discredited. The card also seems to portray it as bipedal, which as I said earlier was not how it moved. Also, I think its face is too short. So, overall, I give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of aging. Also, I don't get why this card doesn't just say Megatherium. Nearly every other animal has its scientific name on it. I don't get why this one has a nickname here. Although one thing I do like is that they did give it an accurate nose for sloths. And now it's time for Megatherium's appearances in pop culture. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room. Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. Does he count? While he is undoubtedly some species of ground sloth, there has never been a concrete answer as to what species of ground sloth he's supposed to be, and considering that he's smaller than Manny the Mammoth, when in real life Megatherium could look a mammoth in the eyes, I'm going to have to say that no, Sid is not a Megatherium. Megatherium appears as a tameable animal in the video game Ark Survival Evolved, where it's portrayed as being primarily a herbivore that also eats bugs. Megatherium appears in an episode of the BBC show Walking with Beasts, where at one point a Megatherium ends up killing a Smilodon. Megatherium is an adoptable animal in both Zoo Tycoon and its sequel. It looks alright in the first game, but in the second game it has these weird horns and is shown as being mostly bipedal, so I have no idea what happened. A Megatherium makes a brief cameo in an episode of The Simpsons where it's erroneously placed in the time of the dinosaurs. Megatherium is an adoptable animal in the mobile game Jurassic World the game, where for some reason its biome is listed as cave, when in real life it most likely would have lived in the open fields of South America, which is pretty much the exact opposite of a cave. That's all for this episode of Monsters of the Past. Join me next time when I talk about an animal that's pretty much a reptilian cheetah. Goodbye.